Donald Trump, when nobody was looking, decided to flip yet again on a campaign promise of his. Time says the following: while President Donald Trump insists he's bringing home Americans from endless wars in the Mideast, his Pentagon chief says all U.S. troops leaving Syria will go to western Iraq, and the American military will continue operations against the Islamic State group. They aren't coming home, and the United States isn't leaving the turbulent Middle East, according to current plans outlined by U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper before he arrived in Afghanistan on Sunday. The fight in Syria against ISIS, once spearheaded by American allied Syrian Kurds who have been cast aside by Trump, will be undertaken by U.S. forces, possibly from neighboring Iraq. Esper did not rule out the idea that U.S. forces would conduct counterterrorism missions from Iraq into Syria, but he told reporters traveling with him that those details will be worked out over time. Trump nonetheless tweeted, "USA soldiers are not in combat or ceasefire zones. We have secured the oil. Bring soldiers home." So here we go again. Now, I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but there was a story from, I want to say, 8 months ago maybe, about how Donald Trump randomly one night tweets that I'm officially bringing our troops home from Afghanistan. He may have said Iraq too, but I think it was just Afghanistan. And, I was like, hey man, that's awesome. Good stuff. Well, come to find out, like 2 or 3 days later, the news broke. We weren't bringing him home. He just tweets it and he just says it. And oftentimes, the military overrides him. And they're like, no, we're going to go ahead and not do that. Thank you. And now listen, man, you could say he's disorganized. You could say sometimes he surprises everybody with what he blurts out on Twitter. All of that is true. You could say he's unpresidential. That's true as well. But the fact that the military just overrides him, what? He's the commander-in-chief. And then also Trump doesn't follow up and make them do it. It's like, okay, I don't know. How did we get to this position where everything is so stupid and everything is so wrong and nothing makes sense? He said we were going to get out of Afghanistan. We didn't get out of Afghanistan, and then he just kind of let it go and was just like, "Yep, I guess we're not getting out." That's what I'm told. He always tells the stories about the generals come in, they're all buttoned down, very nice. They look like they're right out of central casting. It really is unbelievable. More and more people are coming in and they're saying, "Sir, Mr. President, sir, we cannot leave the Middle East." And I say, well, General Raisin Cane, I'm not kidding, there's a general named that, and he called him that. I said to him, "General Raisin Cane, I think that you have very good knowledge on this situation, and I'll let you decide, and I'll let you make the decision, and I'll let you be the one to lead us on this very turbulent issue." He would never use the word turbulent. I don't know why he threw that word in there. But we'll be looking at it very strongly. Me and my generals will be looking at it very strongly, and then we will always do whatever thing is more pro-war. That's what we'll do, as long as it's more pro-war. And that's what happens. Now, I like to think of myself as super consistent. And if Donald Trump were to actually get out of Afghanistan, I would give him credit. If we were to actually get out of Iraq, I would give him credit. The media would rain holy hell on him and act like he's, oh my God, this is so crazy. I can't believe he's doing it. I can't believe he's doing it this fast. Look at the fallout. Look at the attacks that are happening as a result of it. I will defend him if he were to do that, but he's not doing it. In the case of Syria, what did I tell you in the initial segments? I told you we're not even out of Syria. We're just shuffling troops from one part of Syria to another part of Syria, and there are still already troops in other parts of Syria that he didn't even flirt with pulling out. So we're not getting out of Syria. By the way, yes, the problem with what Trump did wasn't that he withdrew from that region. The problem is he gave a green light to Turkey to wipe out the Kurds. That's the problem. We should have gotten out, but we should have brokered a deal with the Syrian government to take our place so the Turks don't invade, or we should have had UN peacekeepers so the Turks don't invade. But again, the argument I see everybody else making is, oh my God, we shouldn't have gotten out. No, then you're taking the Trump bait, and he's gonna beat you when it comes to the political argument in the next election. because you're taking the bait. Now all of a sudden you're saying, no, I'm pro-war. No, don't do that. But this is, okay, now here's where everybody needs to sit down for class and listen closely, okay? This is where you attack. Here, he's giving it to you. He's giving it to you. This is the area where you attack, right here, right here. The argument shouldn't be, we should have never left Syria. We should go back in and always send troops to places that are not going to attack us. That's what we should do. No. Here it is. Here's your argument. Here's the case you make. Here it is. Oh, you're a fraud. You're not actually anti-war. You're not a non-interventionist. You're not getting our troops out of harm's way. You're not being intelligent in the Middle East. All you did was move them from point A to point B, and they're still over there, and there's an argument that now we'll be even more involved in the Middle East. Because before it was the Syrian Kurds who were fighting ISIS directly, and we were just kind of sitting on the sidelines in northern Syria. Now you move those troops to western Iraq, and now you're saying they're going to be more directly involved in fighting ISIS. So let me get this straight. We always had troops, forget northern Syria, we always had troops in other parts of Syria. We didn't even flirt with pulling them out, okay? They're still there and they're staying there. And by the way, yes, the main goal of those people is to try to facilitate a regime change with the Syrian government and getting rid of Assad. And we've armed rebels to do exactly that as well. Moderate rebels are actually jihadists. But we're in other parts of Syria not leaving. We're in Iraq not leaving. Now the troops that were in northern Syria are also going to Iraq to further fight ISIS. So it's just so you know, we're not getting out of anywhere. We're still in Iraq, we're still in Afghanistan, we're still in Syria. We're still doing drone strikes. He increased drone strikes 432% over Barack Obama. He pulled out of the Iran nuclear agreement, threatening and escalating to war with Iran. Even though they followed the agreement to the letter, they followed the agreement, and we pulled out of it, and we violated it. And we're waging economic warfare on that country and not allowing in medicine. With Venezuela, we're seizing food shipments into the country. Economic warfare. People are starving, and instead of helping them, we're seizing food shipments and then blaming it on Maduro. So he's not anti-war. He's not anti-war. He's not anti-war. He's not anti-war. How many times do you want me to say it? He's not anti-war. Point that out. You have to point that out. You have to run against that. You can't immediately take the bait when he does a head fake of non-intervention in northern Syria. Now all of a sudden you're arguing for intervention. What political losers. And what unprincipled goons too. But now you know the specifics, man. I just told you all the specifics. That all the troops that were in northern Syria are now in Iraq, and they're going to fight even more than they were before. So this is a lose, 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 lose. And every time he goes on Twitter and does his little fake anti-war rants, just know he's full of it, guys. He's full of it. Because the reality on the ground is very different from what he's portraying it as.